Life has a way of peeling back the curtain, often in the most painful ways. That's how I finally saw the truth. Presentation is everything. Logan murmured one morning, straightening my blazer with just a little too much care. His hands lingered on my shoulders, firm, possessive, controlling. Mother thinks you should dress more conservatively for work. I brushed his hands away with forced patience and smoothed the fabric myself. I have a major client meeting today. I think I know how to dress for my own career. This was the rhythm of our mornings, an elegant performance in our pristine suburban Boston home. From the outside, we were the picture-perfect couple, successful, admired, effortlessly enviable. I was a marketing executive with a promising career, and Logan thrived in finance. Together, we were polished and golden, or so it seemed. Over breakfast, I tried to keep the mood light. Your mother called again. She wants us to change our vacation plans to join them in Martha's Vineyard. Logan didn't hesitate. He simply reached for his phone and, with the ease of a man who had never questioned authority, dialed. "Mother, yes, we'd love to join you," he said smoothly, already rearranging our lives. That was how it always was. His parents dictated, and Logan obeyed. Frances, my best friend, had seen the cracks in the illusion long before I allowed myself to. During one of our coffee dates, she studied me with concern. "Your husband canceled dinner with me again because his mother wanted an impromptu family gathering. Danielle, this isn't normal." I sighed, already exhausted by the familiar conversation. It's complicated. Family is everything to Logan. Even at work, my mentor, Alex Torres, had begun to notice. "Danielle, you earned this project. Don't let anyone take it from you." But Logan had other plans. "A female-led campaign?" he scoffed one evening, swirling a glass of wine in his hand. "Mother thinks it's too aggressive. Maybe you should let Thompson handle it." The casual cruelty of his words stung, but I had grown accustomed to swallowing my protests. The breaking point came at one of those dreaded family dinners at the Barrett estate. I was in a critical meeting with a high-profile client when the text began. "Where are you? Mother is waiting. You're embarrassing me. You better have a good excuse." Each vibration of my phone sent a fresh wave of nausea rolling through me. Then the final message came. "You have 5 minutes to get here, or there will be consequences." By the time I arrived, the air inside the grand dining room was thick with disapproval. Richard Barrett sat at the head of the table, fingers drumming a steady, ominous rhythm against the polished wood. Elena, his wife, pursed her lips in a tight line. Emma, Logan's sister, kept her gaze fixed on her plate, refusing to meet my eyes. 45 minutes, Logan said coldly, his voice slicing through the silence. "You kept my family waiting for 45 minutes. I was still catching my breath. I'm so sorry, I wasn't crucial." "Enough." His hand slammed against the table, rattling the crystal glasses. The sound sent a jolt of fear through my chest. "On your knees." I blinked, certain I had misheard. "What?" "On your knees." His voice was ice, his expression unreadable. "Logan, please." I whispered, humiliation burned in my throat. His grip on my arm was sudden and bruising. "Do it," he hissed. The cold marble floor bit into my skin. As I knelt, my breath shallow and unsteady. Logan's hand pressed heavily on my shoulder, forcing me to bow. I'm sorry for my tardiness. Judge Barrett, Mrs. Barrett." I stammered, my voice barely audible. "Mrs. Barrett," Elena corrected smoothly, her tone dripping with disdain. "Really, Logan, her lack of proper upbringing shows more every day." It felt like an eternity before Logan finally pulled me to my feet. "Now," he announced, adjusting his cufflinks, "we can have dinner like a civilized family." The next day at work, I hid the bruises beneath my sleeve, but Alex noticed. "Danielle, my office. Now." As soon as the door closed behind us, the dam broke. Everything poured out, the constant control, the daily calls to his parents, the suffocating rules, the growing intimidation. At the charity gala last month, I choked out, "Elena told everyone Logan was fixing my low-class tendencies. She said some people just aren't born with proper breeding." Alex's jaw tightened, his hands balling into fists. Call Frances. She needs to hear this too. An hour later, Frances burst into the office. One look at me, and she pulled me into a fierce, desperate hug. "Why didn't you tell me it was this bad?" she whispered, voice trembling with barely contained rage. "Because it happened so slowly," I murmured. "At first, it was little things, comments about my clothes, my job. Then Logan started checking my phone, claiming his mother was worried about my inappropriate social media posts. He made me change my passwords. He started controlling who I spoke to, my friends, my independence. My entire life, piece by piece, vanished." Frances exhaled sharply. "He's always correcting you at dinner parties," she muttered. "And Richard, he never misses a chance to remind people how his judicial connections can make or break careers." I nodded, swallowing against a lump in my throat. "Last week, Logan threw out my mother's old recipe book, said it was low class. Elena decreed it wasn't up to Barrett family standards." Alex's gaze flickered to the bruises peeking out from beneath my sleeve. "How long?" he asked quietly. I stared at the floor. 3 months. My voice cracked. It started when I refused to quit my job. Elena Barrett never missed an opportunity to remind me that a working wife was unseemly. Logan, of course, echoed her sentiment in his own sharp, cutting way. "You're destroying my family's reputation, Danielle." Frances gripped my hand, her fingers pressing into my skin with quiet urgency. "Has he hit you?" "No," I whispered, the denial bitter on my tongue. "Just grabs, pushes. He says it's for my own good, that I need to learn." I wiped my eyes, but the memory of the last Barrett family dinner sliced through me like a blade. The humiliation, the weight of Logan's hand pressing me to my knees, the silence of those around me. Emma, his sister, had looked horrified. Later, she pulled me aside, her voice hushed and urgent. "This is what they do," she admitted. "They break people who don't fit their mold." Frances didn't hesitate. "You're not going back there." I swallowed, my hands trembling in my lap. "But Logan will." Alex, who had been standing quietly, finally spoke, his voice like steel. "Let him use his father's connections. Let him try. I have a few of my own." I stared down at my hands, remembering how they had trembled beneath Logan's grip, how I had once felt so certain of myself, so capable, only to watch my confidence erode under the constant weight of their control. "I don't even recognize myself anymore," I murmured. "They're erasing everything I am." Frances squeezed my shoulder, steady and sure. "Then it's time," she said firmly, "to show them exactly who Danielle Williams is." The weeks that followed were a careful, deliberate dance of planning, documentation, and discovery. Frances helped me install hidden cameras in the house. Alex connected me with a discreet security expert who uncovered tracking software embedded in my phone, disguised as a so-called family safety app. Logan had been monitoring my every move. During a secret lunch at a small cafe far from Barrett's usual haunts, Emma finally unraveled the full story. "You're not the first," she revealed, her voice trembling. "Logan was engaged twice before you." A chill ran through me. "What happened to them?" Emma hesitated before answering. "Catherine lasted until she refused to convert to Mother's religion. Rebecca wanted to keep her career. Mother made sure both relationships ended." "How?" I breathed, dreading the answer. Emma's expression darkened. The same playbook. Isolation, humiliation, then character assassination. Mother had Richard use his connections to get Catherine fired. Rebecca's family business suddenly faced audit after audit until she broke things off. She reached into her bag and slid a USB drive across the table. "The household staff has seen everything," she said quietly. "Margaret, our housekeeper, even kept a diary. There's security footage on here, too. Things you need to see." That night, I locked the door to the guest room and played the videos, my stomach churning with every revelation. Logan, meeting his ex-girlfriend Lisa in the garden, an arrangement orchestrated by Elena. "Danielle's getting too independent," she said, her voice cold and precise. "Lisa knows how to be a proper Barrett wife." More footage. Logan sabotaging my client presentations by mysteriously losing my files. Richard placing quiet calls to rival firms, warning them against hiring me. Elena smiling at charity events while whispering veiled rumors about my supposed mental instability. Alex guided me through every step of building a case they couldn't erase. Document everything, he urged. Every threatening text, every voicemail. Save it all. The staff became unexpected allies. One evening, Margaret sat across from me at the kitchen table, her hands wringing nervously. "Mrs. Elena wanted me to spy on you," she confessed. "But I've seen this before. My sister didn't survive her abusive marriage. I won't stand by and watch it happen again." I began quietly transferring money into a secret account, using Francis's address to avoid detection. Alex laid the groundwork for my professional escape, securing new opportunities far beyond the reach of the Barrett name. Your performance reviews, project successes, client testimonials, everything's backed up, he assured me. They can't erase your achievements. Emma mapped out Logan's patterns with practiced precision. He always gets more aggressive before big family events, she warned. And Mother's surprise visits? Those are reconnaissance missions. She's testing you. France has kept our growing arsenal of evidence organized, her determination unwavering. "Almost ready," she murmured one evening, reviewing the files. "Just remember, act normal. Let them think they're winning." So I did. I played my part. I smiled at Elena's barbed comments. I nodded when Logan corrected me. I attended every Barrett function, slipping effortlessly into the role of the obedient wife, all while the silent storm of truth gathered strength beneath the surface. Then, Emma handed me the final piece, old family videos. Footage of Elena, younger but no less ruthless, systematically breaking her own mother-in-law. The same tactics, the same precision. Emma's grip on my arm was tight. "Be careful," she warned. "They're starting to suspect something. Mother mentioned having Richard's friends at the DA's office look into your past." I squeezed her hand. "Everything's in place," I whispered. "Soon, we'll both be free." That night, I lay awake, watching Logan sleep. I felt no remorse. The woman they had tried to break was gone. In her place stood someone stronger, someone ready. The annual Barrett family retreat was non-negotiable. 3 days of family bonding at the lake house. Logan announced one morning, his tone brisk and expectant. I smiled, effortless, practiced. Of course. It would be the last thing he ever expected from me. The moment his car disappeared down the driveway, our plan launched into motion. Emma arrived with the moving truck. Francis coordinated with the security team we had hired. "The New York apartment is ready," Francis confirmed, hauling boxes into the back of the truck. "Alex's team is expecting you by Monday." Hours later, the Barrett mansion was stripped of me, of my presence, my life, my existence within its walls. I left behind only a single envelope, placed neatly on Logan's desk. A single word: divorce. The storm broke exactly as planned. Elena's frantic calls came first, sharp and panicked, her usual composure unraveling. Then came Richard's threats, cold and calculated, each one laced with the same arrogance that had once made him untouchable. But they had no idea what was about to hit them. The first domino to fall was Lisa. Logan's ex-fiancée, once discarded and silenced, had finally reached her breaking point. Elena's endless manipulations had pushed her too far, and this time, she wasn't going to take it quietly. She went public with everything. The arranged meetings, the subtle sabotage, the years of Barrett interference designed to shape her into something more acceptable. "I can't believe they're still doing this," Lisa told the society columnist at the Barrett's beloved country club. "They destroyed my life, just like they tried to destroy Danielle's." The word spread like wildfire. Richard's attempt to silence me backfired spectacularly. He thought he could leverage his judicial connections, pressure my new employers, and close doors before I even had the chance to walk through them. But I had been ready for this. The evidence of his abuse of power, the favors, the veiled threats, the way he used his position to protect his family's secrets, was already in the right hands. Once it surfaced, there was no stopping it. Former clerks, employees, and rivals stepped forward, each with their own bare horror story. A career built on fear and intimidation crumbled beneath the weight of long-buried truths. Then it was Logan's turn. An anonymous package arrived at his company's headquarters, its contents damning. A meticulous record was patterned in control, the messages, the surveillance, the bruises hidden beneath sleeves. Already tangled in a gender discrimination lawsuit, the company couldn't cut ties fast enough. We do not tolerate any form of harassment or abuse, their official statement read. Logan cleared out his office that same afternoon, his carefully constructed reputation in tatters. 1 year later, I stood in my New York penthouse, surrounded by the people who had helped me escape. Laughter and clinking glasses filled the room as we celebrated the launch of my latest successful campaign. To Danielle Williams, Alex said, raising his glass, our new global marketing director. Emma, free and thriving in Seattle's tech scene, joined virtually, her smile beaming through the screen. You should see Mother's face every time another social invitation mysteriously gets lost in the mail, she laughed. Then came the call, the one I had been expecting. Logan, now living with his disgraced parents, stripped of everything he once held over me. He sounded different. His voice was raw, almost desperate. Danielle, I understand now, he began, words rushing out in tangled remorse. Mother and father, they controlled everything. I see it now. I'm in therapy. I've changed. Just give me another chance. I let the words wash over me, but they felt weightless, meaningless. My mind drifted back to that night at the Barrett dinner table, his hand bruising my wrist, forcing me to kneel, the sound of his voice echoing with his parents' disdain. No, Logan, I said, my voice steady. You had your chance to be better, to stand up to them, to protect me. Instead, you chose to become them. But I love you, he pleaded. I exhaled, the final tether between us snapping. Goodbye, Logan. Don't contact me again. As I ended the call, Frances was already beside me, her hand squeezing mine. You okay? A slow smile spread across my lips. Never better. Some people think revenge is about making others suffer. But I've learned the truth. The best revenge is living well, succeeding, and ensuring that those who hurt you can never harm anyone else again. To living well, Alex toasted, lifting his glass. To freedom, Emma added from the screen. And to justice, Frances finished. The story had come to an end. But now I have a question for you. What would you have done in my shoes? That night, when Logan demanded I kneel and apologize to his parents, would you have refused, consequences be damned? Or would you have played along, waiting for the moment when you could escape safely, just as I did? There's no easy answer when you're trapped in an abusive relationship. Your safety must come first. But your dignity is always on the line. If my story resonated with you, or if you know someone who needs to hear it, share your thoughts. Because sometimes, knowing you're not alone is a first step toward freedom.